So tell me how I can help you.
Okay, and thanks to Albie. He helped me to kind of narrow down my explanation or about my question there. Just kind of nervous here. It's about being in the role of mediator. My two siblings and myself, we were left a property, and I
And
don't
you were left
really
a
want
property by your parents?
it. Yes.
And
Yes.
when did that happen? Are both parents gone now?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And
Several
how
years
old are you
ago.
and your sisters? How old are you and your sisters?
I'm middle aged, and they're just early 40s.
Early 40s. So they're older or younger than you?
A lot younger.
A lot younger. Okay. So you're the eldest. Are they more than 10 years younger than you?
Right around that age.
And how far apart are they?
Really close.
Okay. All right. So you're the big sis, and then you got two little sisters that are kind of very close in age and grew up a little more together. So, and your parents died how long ago?
About 2 years ago.
2 years ago, and they left the three of you a property in equal thirds?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And that property, is anyone living in that property? On that property?
Not currently.
Okay. Does the property does it produce income?
No.
Does it have expense?
For maintenance, upkeep.
Is everyone contributing equally to the upkeep and the expense?
So far, yes.
Okay. Then what's the question? Now I understand the board. What's the game that's being played on this board?
Well, our parents had some issues over decades with the property, and it caused a lot of hardship. And both of my siblings they have their own hard situations that they're dealing with. And I think part of the issue around the property is that it's because of the meaning of it to them. That's why it's so important. And one sibling would like for us all to have equal use of the property and do as we would like.
Just so I understand what we're talking about, when you say equal use, would this be like a second home, like a lake house, or like a horse stable, or something or is nobody's going to live in it? It's not going to be their residence. It'll be separate to all three of you, and she's talking about we ought to all have access to it?
Both, actually. One sibling would like it if we all built something on the property, and the other sibling would prefer that nobody do anything unless we have everybody's approval, and they like to keep it the same as it has been. And I feel like this is a situation where I won't have the chance to get a redo. And they both seemed, we've talked about a couple times, and they both seem to feel really crushed if we don't complete, like if everybody isn't on the same page as either one of them. And I've tried to do what I can to navigate it, but I feel like it's way above what I know to do. And I've been watching, I did watch The Art of Confrontation, and I've been listening to different programs that you've had on and so on. I thought everything I can do. I guess I'm just concerned myself. It is more than just property. I think one doesn't believe in God at all, and the other is in I would say, an abusive relationship. And I feel
marriage or relationship?
I think marriage.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's where I feel like this is important for this part of our world to go right.
Yeah.
I know there's not too much I can control. I do know that. I'm just trying to think what I can do to
you just want to be helpful, sounds like. Do you care?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you care? Do you care which way it goes? What's your highest
No.
outcome here? Well, your highest outcome would be for everybody to be friends, and you don't care really how the property is used.
Yeah, that they have good mental and spiritual and physical health, and just yeah, I don't. I'd be happy for them to split the property and or whatever. Yeah, I just care about their welfare. Their
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Do you remember in the art of confrontation that I talked about the most important thing in resolving differences is that there must be a no-fly zone. You can kind of call it that. You know what a no-fly zone is when in warring countries there's a no-fly zone that's kind of neutral that nobody gets shot in there, right? And so what's really, really important is that there is a space where everybody's wishes and thoughts and feelings excuse me, can be put out there with one goal for each party to try to deeply, deeply understand what's important to the other person and why. Before we negate it, before we argue with it, before we say, well, that's not a good idea because, or before we say, well, mom wouldn't have liked that, or before we say, but that creek runs through that side and it gets moldy. And, before we do any of that about anybody's ideas, what we want to learn is get as much out there from each party as possible. Now, that's where you got to start. Okay. So I think there is no way you're going to come to an answer if you don't find out what's important behind somebody's position. Let me give you an example. One of the three wants all three of you to be in there equally, and the other one wants to use it in various ways. Okay. So they're stuck on that position. We got to all be in it together. No, we don't have to all be in it together the same way. Okay, so we get the one that wants the only way to resolve this property thing is we're all three doing the same thing, this and the other. Well, you start to listen to that sometimes, and this is just a sample. Here's what it might sound like. Once she starts talking about that, then boom, within 5 minutes, this sobbing comes out. I feel like if we don't have the property, I'll never see you two again. So what's really important to her is that three sisters are pals. Now, I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just giving an example of once we really find out what's behind someone's position, there are 80,000 ways to solve that problem without being stuck in an argument. So that's why if you go back to the art of confrontation, go back to that webinar and listen to those strategies. All right, that's number one. Number two, I would sit down with the two of them and I would say, okay, guys, you guys have pretty different perspectives on this as best I can tell. And I'm kind of like, my highest value in this is I just want to stall. I don't want the property to, it's a piece of dirt. I don't want it to split up something more important like our relationships. We're all in different places in life. I feel like I've kind of become a little bit the facilitator and the mediator. And I just want to check in with everybody. Do you guys get a sense that the three of us are going to be able to talk about this well and get to an answer? Or do you think we need an outside party to help us? That way it puts you're no longer responsible and you shouldn't be responsible. What you're saying is, I've kind of gotten, because I don't really care what we do. I just want us to be friends. But I don't really care about the position. But I don't want to be in the role of driving that. And I kind of am. So do you think the three of us can decide this? Or do we need somebody to play the role I've been playing and be the facilitator? And I would ask them that. And then once you know that, then you can go find a good person sometime. And this could be a lot of different people. It could be a pastor, it could be a family counselor, it could be a trusted friend of the family, knows all of you. It could be the estate attorney, and whoever was the executor of the estate. There's a lot of different, but you need somebody who's wise and somebody that everybody trusts. That's the way I would handle it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome. And I'm glad that you brought this up for a number of reasons. One is we get to talk about how to, kind of a little strategy to do that well. It's some of it is in the art of confrontation. If y'all want to find that, go to boundaries.me/confront. But that's one reason. But Roz, you made us aware of something else, and that is, please, 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 people, I don't care if you're only 25 years old. Please have a will. And you might think, well, I don't really have anything. I don't care. It's going to grow. And if it's a sentimental box of paper clips, it matters to somebody. Just spell things out well. And so there aren't disputes later that divide families. And get somebody good to be the executor of that estate. And you might think, well, only rich people. No, that's not true. It's not only rich people. Where your treasure is, that's where your heart will be, Jesus said. How many people misquote that verse? Remember when that went, well, what election? I think it was Al Gore. Was it Al Gore? Somebody way back when. They got it backwards. Because a lot of people believe that. Where your heart is, there your treasure will be. No, that's not what Jesus said. Where your treasure is, there's where your heart's going to be. So, those go together. And so somebody's more connected to this property. Well, that's where their heart and their input and energy and all that's going to be. So do everybody a favor and get this set up before you pass on, because you're not going to be in the room when they're fighting about it. You can stop a lot of this.